to be back, but I would rather be in London, but I suppose all good things have to come to an end.
I thought you guys planned it to coincide with the World Cup semi-final. That's what I thought. That's a sneaky suspicion I had, Janine. But quickly, tell us about this wonderful experience that you had, but also this wonderful project.
Yeah, but it's a great project, and as you said, it's funded by the Department of Arts and Culture, and what they do is they put in 18 million rand. Then stakeholders in whatever the chosen country is, this case it was the UK, so 18 million rand from the Department of Arts and Culture, and then stakeholders in the UK, those are theatres and like-minded places involved in the arts, they put in another 300 million rand. So you can understand how big this footprint actually becomes. And 450 artists from South Africa were part of the project, the UK SA Seasons project, and they came from 6 provinces in South Africa. And there was, if I have to split it, I think there was 62% men and 38% women who benefited. But the most important thing, Eben, is that they were exposed to audiences, international audiences of over 500,000 people. That's 500,000 people who actually saw these young men and women from South Africa on various stages in the UK. And just to give you an example, what you see behind me is Somerset House in London. And this was home to the African Art Exhibition. And what Talent Scouts did, they found young artists with talent in townships in and around South Africa. Let me just give you Khayelitsha in Cape Town as an example. And they took some of these young women who were doing beading, and these women were doing bracelets and necklaces. But what they did, they taught them how to bead on board. And some of these artworks in Somerset House behind me, they're hanging there for all to see. And they were being sold for something like 200,000 rand. So you can just imagine the exposure that people who would never have had this opportunity before are now having with their work commanding such prices.
Janine, obviously lots of successes, but tell us about some of the success stories that's come out of your trip, but also the artists. What have they been telling you?
You know, Eben, let me just say, before I even left for the UK, somebody told me that there were 2 young girls here at the Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan University here in Port Elizabeth, 2 musical students, one a classical violinist and one a classical pianist. They were part of the beginning of this trip in Edinburgh. And they were taken over there. They were chosen from, I think, thousands and thousands of young artists. They were a part of a group of 12, and they were taken to Edinburgh, and they were exposed to such things, not only playing a violin or playing a piano, in their line of, or their field of work where their interests lie. So it exposed them to different things, whereas maybe not just playing or being part of an orchestra, it showed them if this is the line of work they actually want to follow, that they can perhaps organize festivals. They were taught how to get people together, and it's not only what they can do and what they're exposed to, but it shows, it gives them a much greater insight into their field of expertise that they want to study and follow in life. But if I must say, Eben, if I look at the Truth and Reconciliation process that was here in South Africa, the UBU and the Truth Commission were one of the theatre productions that were on show in London as part of the Seasons project. And it was a full house the night we went, and there was an audience. It was made up of people from South Africa, people from London, and people from all over the world. And the strange thing was, although many of us were familiar with what came out of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, for many people it was to see it on stage and to see it performed, and the atrocities that were committed during the apartheid era, it made it so real. And many South Africans came out of that show and they said to me, you know, I'm actually embarrassed to be South African. I realized this was happening, but I didn't realize to the extent it was happening. And UBU and the Truth Commission premiered in South Africa many years ago, but it's still going great guns, and it's being shown to audiences all over the world, and it's part of the SA UK Seasons project. So what this project is doing, it's taking our history, it's putting it on an international stage, and it's laying it bare for everybody to see, and it's getting rave reviews. But it's a remarkable concept, Eben, and I think it's going to go really far.
Now, there's talk of expansion of the entire thing. Are different countries now going to be brought into this exchange project, do you think?
Yes, they are. I had a chat to Monica Newton from the Department of Arts and Culture, and she said, you know, every country that South Africa has approached with this concept, the concept has been really, really warmly welcomed. It was welcomed in France, it was welcomed in the UK. So I believe now that they are in talks with Russia. I think Russia possibly will be next, the SA Russia Seasons project, which sounds quite exciting. I mean, it's going to be fascinating to see what Russia can share with us and likewise. And I know there's possibility of talks with Brazil and China, and also taking this entire concept onto the African continent and us collaborating with our African brothers and sisters to see what cultural exchanges we can exchange with each other and grow arts and culture in South Africa and in the other countries. And it's such a great stepping stone and such a great initiative by the Department of Arts and Culture, giving a platform for young and emerging artists as well as established South African artists to be on a world stage.
Janine, thank you very much for that contribution. The pictures that you brought back were absolutely amazing. We absolutely loved it. There goes Janine Lee down in Port Elizabeth. Of course, she was in London for the UK Seasons project, and what a success story it proved to be. Now,